Hey everyone, welcome back to Rocky Watches Movies. Today we're turning back the clock to the chaotic, anarchic world of one of Britain's most outrageous sitcoms, The Young Ones. Bursting onto screens in 1982, this surreal, punk-infused comedy redefined what television could get away with, blending slapstick violence, political satire, and musical performances with student life mayhem. But behind the madness was a storm of creativity, controversy, and brilliant comedy minds. So grab your lentils, duck from flying furniture, and get ready to smash through 18 things you never knew about the young ones. The concept was created by Rick Mayall and Lisa Mayer, his then girlfriend, who pitched the idea to comedian and writer Ben Elton. Mayall freely admitted that he wasn't a strong writer at the time and believed Elton would be better suited to co-writing the script with Mayer. The three met in a London pub in 1981 and, over drinks, sketched out the outline of the series. The show was intended as a rebellious alternative to friendly family sitcoms like The Good Life, with its characters loosely inspired by real people the writers and producers had encountered during their university years. Many of the people involved in the show were already known to each other. Not only was it co-written by Rick Mayall's girlfriend, Adrian Edmondson also involved his girlfriend, Jennifer Saunders, in two separate roles during the series. The main actors, Rick Mayall, Adrian Edmondson, Nigel Planer, and Alexei Sayle, were all members of the comic strip. Another member, Peter Richardson, who frequently performed alongside Nigel Planer, was originally set to play Mike the Cool Person. However, after a falling out with producer Paul Jackson, the role went instead to Christopher Ryan. The show drew inspiration from the sitcom The Monkees, which also centered on four characters and featured musical segments, jump cuts, and loose, free-flowing narratives. Also, Fawlty Towers and Monty Python were key influences. In particular, Rick Mayall admired Monty Python's unpredictability and deliberately incorporated that quality into the show. If you've ever wondered why musical acts like Madness, Motorhead, and Dexys Midnight Runners appeared on the programme, it all came down to budgeting. The BBC, eager to secure the group before Channel 4 did, offered them a sitcom, despite having no remaining funds allocated for sitcoms. To work around this, The Young Ones was classified as a variety show. The ska band Madness actually made two appearances on the show, performing their songs House of Fun and Our House. They even interacted briefly with the characters, such as when Rick requests Cliff Richard's Summer Holiday, only to be threatened by the band's frontman Suggs. This was because the BBC was considering offering Madness their own sitcom, similar to the Monkees, though the idea ultimately never came to fruition. And speaking of the light entertainment budget, if you've ever wondered why Rick opens Mike's bedroom door to find a lion tamer, it's because the performer had to be hired as a guest in order to satisfy the show's budget classification, as this is the only episode not to feature a musical act. In the first season, a mysterious figure can occasionally be seen lurking in the background, a person whose face is hidden by long hair. This fifth housemate appears in scenes such as when Neil is hit with a kettle in the episode Bomb, or slumped against the wall while Mike watches TV in Demolition. Their unexplained presence has fueled years of fan speculation online. In 2016, journalist Peter Farquhar contacted cast and crew to investigate the character's origin. Co-writer Ben Elton claimed to have no knowledge of the figure, while director Jeff Posner admitted that he and Paul Jackson had deliberately added a ghostly figure to a few scenes for fun, never intending it to be explained. Co-writer Lisa Mayer offered her own theory: the fifth housemate was a party guest who simply never left. Alexei Sayle was certainly a unique presence on the show. Not only did he play every member of the Balowski family, most notably as the sinister Eastern European landlord Jerzy Balowski, but he also ad-libbed nearly all of his scenes. Sayle never rehearsed with the other cast members, so scripts often simply read, "Alexei does his bit," leaving the rest of the actors completely unaware of what he would do until it happened. The show tackled a range of topical issues with sharp humour, including jabs at Margaret Thatcher's government, police brutality in the wake of the 1981 Brixton riots, and the looming threat of nuclear war. Critics have often interpreted the main characters as symbolic of the people, standing in opposition to Thatcher's Britain. At the time the series was recorded and aired, the country was also dealing with major events such as the miners' strikes and the Falklands War. These social and political tensions frequently served as rich material for the show's biting satire. There were cutaway gags throughout the episodes that would often feature everyday household objects, food items, and animals engaging in conversation. Aside from Vyvyan's pet hamster, the characters completely overlooked the significance or even the presence of these sentient objects. Adrian Edmondson was not a fan of these gags, as he felt the dynamic between the four main characters provided more than enough comedy on its own. The show also had early appearances of a whole galaxy of future British comedy stars, including co-writer Ben Elton, Keith Allen, Chris Barry, Dawn French, Halem Pace, Stephen Fry, Hugh Laurie, Robbie Coltrane, Tony Robinson, Jennifer Saunders, Emma Thompson, and many more. In the episode Bambi, the housemates appear on University Challenge, competing against a team from the fictional Footlights College, a nod to the famous Cambridge Footlights Drama Club. The rival team consists of writer Ben Elton, alongside actual former Footlights members Emma Thompson, Hugh Laurie, and Stephen Fry. Interestingly, Fry had actually appeared on the real University Challenge show while at Cambridge. Alexi Sale, though, isn't particularly fond of the episode, as he viewed Laurie, Elton, Fry and Thompson as the kind of college-educated twits they were satirising. Random flash frames were frequently inserted into episodes in the second season, featuring images unrelated to the plot, such as a jumping frog, a dripping tap, or a freeze frame of the closing credits from a Western film. This gag was originally included to give VHS collectors something to obsess over. The intention was for these flash frames to build up to the final reveal in the last episode explaining their purpose, but this was ultimately scrapped after a meeting with the BBC. The reason being that the show Spitting Image had caused a bit of a stink doing the same thing. This is the freeze frame in question from Spitting Image, which led to the final episode being released without its freeze frame under orders. And here is that image that was missing from Summer Holiday. The series title is taken from the song of the same name by Cliff Richard. Rick Mayall was a huge fan of Richard, a passion shared by his character Rick. An American adaptation was filmed under the title Oh No, Not Them. The pilot featured Nigel Planer reprising his role as Neil alongside Jackie Earle Haley. However, the series was ultimately not picked up by the Fox network. Apparently, Planer had experienced a terrible time, worried that he was going to have to stay in the US for years with a group of people he hated, who had managed to make the young ones into a sort of grubby Benny Hill show. He was hugely relieved when the pilot was a flop and he was released from his contract. The end of the series didn't mark the final outing for the characters. The four main cast members reunited for the British charity event Comic Relief in 1986, recording a music video and cover version of Cliff Richard's Living Doll, joined by Richard himself and Shadows guitarist Hank Marvin. In 1984, Nigel Planer released an album of music and skits in character as Neil, titled Neil's Heavy Concept Album. The single Hole in My Shoe, a cover of English rock band Traffic's song, was a hit, reaching number 2 in the UK chart, the same position as the original in 1967. The Young Ones was a massive success, turning its cast into bona fide television stars. Mayall, Edmondson and Planer all went on to appear in The Comic Strip Presents from 1982 and Filthy Rich and Catflap in 1987, while Mayall and Edmondson later teamed up again for Bottom in 1991. And there you have it, folks. You now know a little bit more about The Young Ones. If you enjoyed the video, which I presume you did as you got this far, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any future videos coming to Rocky Watches Movies. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.